Hey everyone, welcome back to my iceloom kitchen, and today we are going to be making two flavor swirl ice looms on a waffle cone. So these are the two that we have right now. And if you made the previous swirl cone that I have on my channel, it's bigger. You can compare the size. Click on the link below to get to the recipe page to check out the number of bands needed for this creation. After that, come back and let's begin. So you will need your regular loom. Remove the center row, and it's easier if you have both rows facing opposite directions. I have my front row facing to the right and my back row facing to the left. You'd need your hook, your loom hook, and if you have a crochet hook, works fine. Let's start with the tip. You need two of your flavor one color bands. Wrap it around your hook twice. Then you get another two of flavor one and another two of flavor two. Push those wrap bands over and pull those four bands through. Now you're going to get the top two of flavor one. Pull two bands through, just the top portion. Hold the other end so it won't go through. And you can put this part down. Put your hook through the other end of flavor one. Just let the flavor two bands hang. Get another two bands. Pull those through and place it on the peg right across. Now you put your hook through one end of flavor two, and we're going to do the same. Pull two bands through. Hold the other end so it won't get out. Put your hook through the other end of flavor two and pull another two bands. This is your beginning X. Now you get flavor two bands, put it on the corresponding side, get the flavor one band, and you're going to have transitional bands here. To make the transition, get one of each flavor. Just drop one flavor down, put one across, pull that dropped flavor around. Now pull that stretch band across and hook it up to itself. So you have that X. You're going to repeat that. Drop one flavor down. Put one flavor across. Pull and put it around the crossed flavor band. Pull out that band. Hook it onto itself. And that is the top layer for this first base. Then we're going to pick up all the lower bands on 4 pegs, pull it up and over. Now from the 4 pegs, we're going to extend to 6 pegs. So get 2 bands, extend from here to here, close that off with the same color bands, another 2. For the tip portion, we start with 4 pegs and we're going to extend slowly to 10. So you've extended now to 6 pegs. And same, line the tops with 2 bands. And these again will have transition bands. Transition on the back too. And again, lift all the lower bands up and over each peg. Now from the 6 pegs, again, we extend to 8. So 2, extend here. Close that off. Then same, line up the top, 2 bands. and transition again, the middle area. And pull all the lower bands up and over again, leaving only 4 bands per peg. Now we're going to extend to 10. Lay 2 bands all around with transitions in the center. On 10 pegs, you're going to do this round of laying bands and lifting up and over 3 times. This is the first row. So pause your video and repeat this 10 peg row 2 more times. Unpause when you're done, and we'll resume from there. We now finished 3 rows on 10 pegs, and we're going to close this off. So just go through each peg, smoothen it out to make sure that you know where each band is coming from, because we only need 2 bands per peg. So we lift the lower 2 up and over on every peg. Okay, so now we're going to close this off from starting from this peg. You go to the peg across and pick up the lower, put your hook through, pick up the lower band, and put it on top. Now put your hook through, push aside that band you just placed on top, pull up the 2 lower bands, move it forward. Now you're going to go around just by pushing back the bands that you just moved on that peg and picking up the 2 lower bands and moving forward. Now with this, you get the 1 band left. This was the very first peg we got it from. Put it here, and we're going to tie that off. Put your hook through, create a slip knot with a single band. Help the tip of the loom. And this is the tip of your two flavor cone. So we're going to, now we move on to the second bump, the middle bump. And we're going to be working with 14 pegs. And you're going to start by placing double of one flavor band. Let me mark my end. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is my you have one flavor band that takes up 3 spaces and the other flavor band takes 2 spaces, and you have a transitional here. This is row 1. Transitional here. Now just replicate that on the other side. So that's your base of row 1. And now we have to put the top row for row 1. And what you're going to do is exactly the same, but this time not excess. You're going to put double bands straight out. And this is the base of the second bump and row 1 complete. Now you're just going to lift all the lower 4 bands up and over each peg. So row 1 has been fully completed. Now we're going to begin with row 2. So our first transition was here. Now our next transition will be here. This is row 2. Now fill up the rest here with double of this flavor 1 bands, and fill the rest here with double bands of the flavor 2. After you lay this out, you're going to lift all the lower bands over each peg. You can pause your video and just resume when you're done. So we've just finished row 2. Now we're going to begin row 3. Our transition was here, and now for row 3 you repeat the exact same colors and the same transition area. So you'll still be having it here. Then fill up the rest with the flavor 1 and flavor 2. Then lift everything up and over. Pause again and resume when you're done. So we've just finished row 3, and now to begin row 4, transition will be on this area. And then you fill up the rest with flavor 1, flavor 2. You'll have the exact same layout for row 4, which is this, and row 5. So after this round, do another of the exact same round with the transition here, and unpause your video when you're done. So we finished 5 rows for the middle bump, and we're about to start doing the 6th row, and I'm trying to do something a little different so that we won't have to sew too much in the end. So take your tip layer and make sure the side that's out is the side where the stitches are going down. If the inside has stitches going around, make sure the side that's out is the ones that go down vertically. Now, first let's put the transition bands here. So our last transition was here. On the 6th, we're going to go here. So put that down. Okay, now we're going to lay our bands around. Now you have to start thinking how you're going to fit this on top. In my case, it doesn't really have to be exactly like that. I like it turned a little bit because it makes the swirl look more natural, not so fixed. So I'll turn it this way. So get your tail band where you tied it off. So attach it on one peg that way. Let's get 2 bands here just to hold it down. Now on this side, let's slip in 1 flavor, 1 band. Give it a slip knot. And let's put it on the opposite peg to even it out. Let's do another. Here. I think I want to put another one here just so that it's a little bit tighter. Okay. Now we lay out the bands like we would normally. To here. Okay. Now we're going to lift all the bands below, including the ones that connect to the tip, up and over. So this is the end of your row 6 with the attached tip, and we're going to close it off the same way we closed the tip portion earlier, by smoothing out each peg and bringing the lower bands up and over to make sure you only have 2 pegs per row, 2 rows, 2 bands per peg, excuse me. Now we're gonna close it off exactly like what we did by bringing this one over from the lower inside portion of this peg and lifting everything inside up and over, the 2 lower bands up and over, moving forward. Tie this off. Help it off the loom. After removing it off the loom, turn the tip and the middle bump inside out, and it's in the correct place, but it should be tighter here. So when you make yours and you're attaching the tip, better to add more bands to secure it. Or if you were fine with just attaching it that way, you can just use this point to tighten it more to the middle bump. After that, just tie it off, hide it inside. So pause your video, adjust it, and come back when you're ready to begin the next bump. Okay, let's begin with the largest bump, the bump right before, that goes right on top of the waffle cone. And we'll be using 16 pegs. That's 8 pairs of pegs. I've marked it off already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we'll be laying our base excess, and our transition will start into here in this area. So put down your flavor of this side here, flavor 1 across. And fill in the spaces with the flavors for their sides. Using double bands. Now we're going to lay down the double bands on all the around. Start with the transition area. So you get that out of the way. Okay, we're going to be doing something a little different. So before you lay down all your bands, I'm going to start attaching the top portion, the tip and the middle bump, to try and eliminate so much sewing in after. Make sure your tip has the tip and bump has the horizontal pattern facing out. Get a single flavor 2 band. In the middle. Let's do the same on the other side. So just pause your video and continue attaching with as many bands as you want to secure these 2 pieces, the tip and the middle bump, to your larger bump. Then when you're happy and feel that it's secure enough, unpause and we'll resume from there. So I think I'm okay with this. I can always tighten it again after. Now we're going to lay our rounds of double bands. We've done the transition area already. Okay. Now we're gonna lift all the lower bands up and over. there should only be 4 bands left on each peg. Okay, now we're going to do our second round, and the transition will be here. Then fill in the gaps with the correct flavor area per area. So just replicate that on the other side with the transition right in the center. Lift everything up and over. Pause your video and come back when you're ready to start round 3. 3 and round 4 will have the same transition area, which will be here. So you can mark it. So transition area here, then fill in the rest of the areas with the designated flavor color. After doing your round of laying down the bands, you're going to lift the lower bands up and over again each peg. So just replicate this to the other side. This is round 3. Lift all your bands up and over on after the round and repeat the exact same colors and position for the transition area for round 4. So pause your video and come back after you're done with round 4. We are about to start our 5th row, and the transition for the 5th row will be here. So same thing. After you fill in the transition pegs, you fill in the gaps with the corresponding flavor bands all around. And row 5 and row 6 will be exactly the same. So row 5 and row 6 have the transitions on this area. So pause your video again, repeat your rounds, lay down your bands and lift everything up and over with the transition area here. And come back after you're done with row 6. So that was our last row. Row 6 is done. Push everything down. Now to close this, I'm going to do something a little differently again because it gets really tight. So you just get one flavor band, any flavor. It can be the purple, my purple or my white, but I'm using white because jelly bands tend to be slippery. And I'm going to make one round single bands all around. Okay, and after you've laid down that one single band all around, just lift all the lower bands on each peg, so all the lower 4 bands, so each peg is just left with 2. Now we're going to close it off the way we did the others. We're going to start here, go across, go inside, pick up that lower band inside, bring it over, then just go in, pick up the lower 2 bands, and same all the way around. If it gets off the peg, that's fine. You're pulling it out anyway. Now, close that off. Make a slip knot and help your swirl top off the loom. And you're going to turn this inside out. And you have a lovely swirl top. Again, if you feel like if you don't like the gaps, you can tighten that. Make all the adjustments that you want to make to your top at this point. If you need to tighten, if you don't want any spaces, do that now. Pause your video, adjust your your cone top the way you would like it to look. I think I'm pretty happy with how this looks. And then come back when you're done and we start with the cone. Our cone will be using 14 pegs, and I've laid down the excess to mark the perimeter. For the first 3 rows, this area will have a transition color depending on which color of the swirl flavor you wanted to put here. So for my cone, I'll be using white. So you're going to drop your cone color. Create one transition. And now you have the base of the starting base for your cone. So we're going to now lay down row 1, exactly the same, cone color all around. I'm double banding my cone. And then we're going to do transition colors in the middle. So that's row 1. You have your base and your row 1 on top. So now we're going to lift all the lower 4 bands up and over each peg. This will be the same pattern for the next 3 rounds. So pause your video, lift all the lower 4 bands up and over, then repeat the round again 2 more times. Unpause after you're done with the 3rd round. So I finished 3 rows of the cone with the 1 swirl flavor in the middle. Now we're going to continue doing the cone on 14 pegs, but no more swirl color included, no more flavor color included. Just repeat the process with all cone colored bands. And we're going to need 4 more rows. So this is row number 4. Continue laying the bands and lifting the lower bands up and over after each round up to row number 7. So pause your video again and come back when you're done and we'll resume from there. So we've reached 7 rows on 14 pegs and we are now going to decrease to 12 pegs. So let's decrease from here. We take the top two bands from this peg. Other end comes from this side, so we put it here. Take the lower two. Now we go to this peg. Upper comes from this, the other side, so let's put this here. So now we're down to 12 pegs. And we repeat the process again. Every decrease, we're going to go 2 rounds. So lay your double bands all around the 12 pegs. Then lift all the lower bands up and over, leaving only 4 bands per peg. Pause your video again and come back after you're done with the 2 rounds on 12 pegs. Okay, we've finished 2 rounds on 12 pegs and we are going to decrease again to 10 pegs. So from this peg, take the upper 2 bands. Other end is from here, so take it here. Take the lower 2. Put it there. Upper 2 bands coming from here. Go here. Lower 2. Push everything down. Now we're going to do another 2 rounds on 10 pegs. So pause your video again and come back after you're done with 2 rounds on these 10 pegs. We've just finished 2 rounds on 10 pegs and now we're going to have to attach that waffle end part of the cone. So to do that, if you can try and pop out your cone, turn it inside out without removing it from the loom. So that way. It should look a little bit like this. Now with your hook, crochet hook or your loom hook, insert it here, like at the edge portion of that color swirl and the cone, the top, one side only. Two bands. Pull through. Another two, just like you're making a chain. So on the fifth chain, include part of the cone body to attach this edge, this waffle edge to your cone. So just make your way down. You can attach the edge of your waffle cone edge to either this peg or this peg. Around 10 chains should be fine. Just midway attach part of that chain to the body, to the cone body. So it won't be flapping around. So there, it's my 10th. So it should look a little bit like this. So 10 pegs, add your 10 chain. And now we are going to, so this where you attached your chain has 6 bands around. Lift the lower 2 up and over to anchor it in. And now we are going to decrease to 8 pegs. Let's decrease from this side. Upper 2 coming from here. So bring it down here. Lower 2, bring it to the back. Push down. Decrease this. Upper 2 comes from the back, so bring it here in the front. Lower 2, bring to the back. Now we go around. Two rounds on these 8 pegs. Pause your video again. And come back after your second round on your 8th peg is done. So we've finished 2 rounds on 8 pegs, and we're going to decrease again from this portion. We're going to go down from 8 pegs to 6. So this end of this comes from the back, so let's bring this to the front. Side to the back. Now same, we're going to do 2 rounds on these 6 pegs. Bring all the lower bands over each peg. If having the cone on top bothers you, you can just always pop it back down and we can invert it again later. Okay, 2 rounds done on 6. Decrease to 4 pegs. So let's take this portion in front. Upper 2. Back of those bands come from here, so we move it here. Get the lower 2. There. And let's decrease from here. Upper comes from here, so we bring it to the front. Push it down. Okay, 2 more rounds on 4 pegs. One last round on the 4 pegs. Now we're going to decrease to 2. Start from here. Put this here, since the back portion of these 2 bands come from the back. These 2 go here. Upper 2. Back comes from here, so put this in the back. And these go to the front. Yay. Now there are 8 bands per peg. Lift the 4 lower bands up and over. Then you take, let's make it a little easier. So there are 4 left on each. Pull all the bands off one peg, transfer it to the other peg. So you're left with 1 peg. And now you move all the lower 4 bands up and over. Now we can tie this off. Insert 2 bands and create a slip knot. So hide your tail, reshape it. Now I'm gonna get some of the fiber fill that I have. It's up to you how stuffed you want your cone to be. You can stuff it really hard or just stuff it a little bit just to give it a better shape and hold your top portion better. And the cone is done. Shape it and stretch it out. Fix the stuffing inside. Now we're going to attach our top. And I'm going to, you look at how your swirl looks and decide how you want it to look on top of the cone. You can stuff your swirl if you want, but it's actually pretty firm, so I don't stuff mine. And the sewing thread that you'll be using depends on where you're placing it, but I'm going to be using whites first. Get a white band. Take a portion from your cone. And take a portion from your swirl top. First slip knot. And continue sewing it in. Better to take areas that are hidden, like from the inner part of the cone or inner top part of the swirl, and make your way all around. So just reshape and tighten your cone as much as you like and based on how you want your cone to look. So there you have it. I hope you like it. Enjoy your ice loom.